You ever drop 4 grand on a dream cruise? Then it's day 2, the buffet line snakes past the pool deck, you're holding a tray, and there's nowhere to sit. Just people hovering behind chairs with that "are you leaving?" stare. Not bad luck. That's the booking. For example, MSC, 3.2 out of 5, on 11,135 reviews. Scores like that don't stay on paper. You feel it on board. Lines, little fees, service that can't keep up. One former safe pick brand has slipped into this territory. Another brand has long-time top-tier guests repeating the same sentence. My status meant nothing. Same brand, different ship, different trip. So today, I'm counting down the 6 cruise lines people are walking away from in 2026 and what's actually causing that line world feeling. By the end, I'll give you a 15-second sanity check to spot a real vacation versus a stress cruise before you book. Start at number 6. Because one tiny choice on the booking page decides which cruise you actually get. Princess used to be my easy yes for a calm, classic cruise. Lately, it feels like a brand that's drifting, pulled toward bigger, busier sailings so the experience can swing hard, ship to ship. And the trap is, you don't find out which version you bought until you're already unpacked. You feel it first at dinner. Real talk. One night is genuinely good, the next night tastes flat, then the menus start repeating, and you realize you're not bored of cruising, you're bored of this cruise. And here's the sneaky part. Then the money part starts adding friction. It's not one giant surprise charge. It's a stack of little fees that quietly redraw what feels included versus what feels like another swipe, delivery here, access style stuff there, package tiers that change the whole vibe. If you don't choose your yes items at home, the ship will choose them for you. Then it gets personal. Loyalty. People didn't chase status for a shiny badge. They chased it for less friction. When ships are sailing full and priority still feels crowded, you hear the line that stings, "My status meant nothing." Princess Tech can be amazing until it turns service into scanning, waiting, and it's in the system. And this is where annoying can turn into serious. I saw a review where the guest said their allergy was documented and strawberries still showed up on the plate. That's not a preference mix-up. That's trust breaking. For anything medical, I don't trust the system alone. Day 1, I tell a human one sentence. Serious allergy. Who's the manager tonight so I can confirm it's flagged? Same line at specialty dining. 5 seconds of awkward, a much safer week. My last princess move is almost embarrassingly simple. I write the exact ship name on a sticky note and stick it by my laptop. That one detail decides whether this feels classic or crowded. Line number 5 takes the pretty on paper problem to an extreme. Some of the nicest looking ships on the ocean, and the day-to-day can still run messy unless you pay for the one escape hatch that changes everything. MSC is the cruise line that can fool you in the first 10 minutes. You walk on board and it looks like a designer hotel. Glass, lights, shiny staircases, everything screaming premium. Then real life starts. And it hits different. My first oh no moment with MSC wasn't even dinner. It was elevators, especially on the older ships. You stand there watching packed cars go up and down, and it feels like every stop is your stop. Just not today. On the newest world-class ships, it's destination-style elevators. You pick your deck on a screen before you step in, and it assigns you a lettered car. It helps a lot, but at peak times, you can still end up waiting in a crowd, just a more organized crowd. Either way, it's the same pattern. The ship gets praised. The day-to-day gets dragged. The twist most Americans don't see coming. MSC sells value, then quietly multiplies the crowd with family promos. Kids sail free sounds like a win, until you're trying to find 2 empty chairs anywhere near food. The ship isn't just full, the ship is full of families. Take a guess. On an MSC sailing with a big family promo, what turns into the Hunger Games at 11:45? The buffet, the pool deck, and anything that mixes a line with kids and strollers. On MSC, the promo language does more work than people realize. Read it like a warning label. If you see 3rd or 4th guest free, assume the public spaces will feel tighter. Calm people usually do better on longer itineraries. Short Caribbean runs attract the loudest bargain energy. Service style can surprise Americans too. It can feel more European, less small talk, more direct. Some travelers love that. Some take it personally. Direct is fine. Direct plus chaos is brutal, especially when you need one clear answer. Then there's the slow grind, low-grade friction. A ship can look stunning and still wear you down with small annoyances, AC acting weird, elevators getting backed up, crowded areas feeling hotter than they should. You don't need one disaster. A week of that is enough. This is why MSC reviews feel split, the onboard class divide. MSC has the yacht club, basically a ship within a ship. Private lounge, private pool area, dedicated dining, quieter flow. A lot of people who swear they love MSC really mean they love yacht club. It's almost ridiculous. The same ship can feel like a relaxing luxury vacation and a chaotic budget cruise at the exact same time, depending on what your room key opens. That key is the prop on MSC. It's not just your cabin, it's your access to calm, A/B check, fast. If you want quiet and you hate crowds, Yacht Club makes MSC feel like a different ship. If you're younger, you like the energy, you're there for the parties, and you don't need personalized service every hour, regular MSC can be a blast. Just don't book it, expecting boutique hotel smooth. On MSC, I don't try to win the buffet, I avoid it. Early dinner or late dinner, skip peak. Pool deck off times, same rule. Shows, arrive early or accept standing. Fight the crowd all week, and your vacation becomes a schedule. Before you book MSC, scan the promo for kids sail free or third or fourth guest free. Then answer one honest question. Would that crowd level ruin your week? If you hesitate, change the itinerary length or pick a different ship vibe on purpose. Line number 4 is the one people assume can't miss until you step onto an older ship and realize even the king has cracks. Royal Caribbean is the line people recommend when they want a can't-miss cruise. Big ships, big shows, big everything. So if you're traveling with family or you want non-stop entertainment, Royal feels like the smart bet. It's the cruise version of ordering the safest thing on the menu and still getting surprised when it comes out different than you expected. Royal doesn't feel like one product anymore. It feels like two eras living under the same logo. I learned that the hard way. Booked Royal expecting the new ship vibe, stepped onto an older ship and went, oh, different trip. So you have to pick your pain up front or the ship will pick it for you. Older ship, less scramble for reservations and seats, but more wear. New Giant, better hardware, but your week turns into managing demand. The best shows feel like concert tickets. Reserve early or you're in a line later wondering why your vacation needs a strategy. Dining can feel the same on busy sailings. You're not picking what you want, you're picking what's still available. That's why people feel burned by Royal. They didn't book the wrong brand, they booked the wrong era. The money pressure is another fault line. It's not one dramatic fee, it's the constant upgrade atmosphere. The app nudges, packages sit there like a dare. The included cruise can still be fun, but some people get tired of feeling like every smooth moment lives behind a paywall. Loyalty can sting in a quiet way too. When ships sail full, perks don't always feel like fast lanes. Status used to reduce friction. Lately, it can feel like you just get a nicer way to wait. If you want Royal without the regret, don't see what happens. The minute your booking is confirmed, open the planner and lock 2 things you'd actually be mad about missing, your top show and your top dinner slot. Everything else can stay loose. Private Island Day has its own trap. One ship day feels relaxed. 2 ship day turns into chair hunting and lines again. A 30-second port check before you commit saves a lot of resentment. Royal at number 4 isn't Royal is bad. It's Royal is inconsistent. The cracks show when you book the logo and ignore the ship, the crowd level, and the reservation reality. Freedom is the promise. Line number 3 is the fine print. It sells Freestyle, then turns your week into screen time the moment you step on board. You book this one for freedom. No fixed dinner time, no rigid schedule. You step on board, and it feels less like vacation and more like, keep an eye on the app. Freestyle sounds spontaneous. The reality is a clock. Months before sailing, the gap shows up. On a lot of itineraries, suites, and the Haven, can grab prime specialty dining way earlier, while standard cabins get access much closer in. A regular cabin finally logs in and it already feels picked clean. Closer to departure, the sprint shifts to entertainment. Show reservations drop later, usually in that 21 to 26 day window, yet it still turns into a scramble. Even with a reservation, it doesn't feel done. It feels like check-ins, scans, show up early energy. On board, the bill starts climbing in a way people didn't picture. The bundle language, free at sea, more at sea, makes travelers relax, while the account keeps filling up anyway. Bookmark this. This is where free starts feeling expensive. NCL lists the daily service charge as $20 per person per day for most cabins, and $25 for the Haven and Suites. For budget-minded cruisers, that's the moment the deal stops feeling like a deal. More at sea can add its own frustration too, paying up front for perks you may not even use, like upgraded Wi-Fi or drinks. Room service turns into a mini version of the same shock. A $9.95 fee per order on many items, plus service charge, makes a late-night burger feel like a checkout screen. Food is where the promise gets tested hardest on newer ships. Prima, Viva, Aqua-style layouts shrink the classic buffet footprint and lean into food hall concepts like Indulge, where tablets run the table. Wait for a server, and you can wait forever. Tablet, slow or unresponsive. Awkward, fast. Tap, order, food arrives. No tap, no food. Tech keeps squeezing families too. The app works on the ship's onboard network without an internet package until your group tries to message each other. Chat can require a small one-time activation fee, often around $10 per person on many sailings. Skip onboard payment setup before you sail. Guest services becomes your longest line on day one. Entertainment closes the loop. Lineups vary ship to ship, and the headline show you pictured isn't always what's on board. Building the whole trip around one production is a gamble. This is why people drift away. Not one disaster, touchscreen friction stacked on top of a bill that keeps climbing. Line number 2 is the priciest ticket on this list, and it's also where people step on board expecting perfection, then walk off quietly asking, "Was that it?" You tap your stateroom key, everything looks flawless, and for a second you think, okay, this is what we paid for. 10 minutes later, you're staring at a time slot or reservation screen for something your brain assumed would just happen. That's the gap people keep describing with Disney Cruise Line lately. At Disney prices, decor isn't the point. Ease is. Recent sailings don't always feel easy though, and it's not that the ships aren't beautiful. It's scarcity. Too many guests chasing the same few moments. Quick bet. What disappears first? A pool chair, a quick lunch seat, or a character slot? Well, character time now becomes a slot. Pool chairs disappear early. Quick bites feel squeezed. The week starts running on theme park math. What needs a reservation? What needs a line? What quietly nudges you toward paying extra just to keep it smooth? That's also why the pay-to-play feeling lands harder here. Premium ticket, then extra charges for little moments, photos, tastings, those special kid experiences, and guests start using the word punished. Not because the trip is awful. The bar is Disney perfect, so tiny cracks hit louder. A meal shows up lukewarm. An elevator takes forever. You circle for a seat. On another line, you'd shrug. On Disney, you think, wait, for this price? Even the private island magic has taken dents in recent chatter. Lookout Cay is gorgeous, yet some guests online mention the walk feeling long in the heat and flies around food areas being a buzzkill. Trust gets rattled too. Disney Adventure slid from late 2025 into March 2026. It's Disney's first ship homeporting in Asia out of Singapore, so early bookers watch details like a contract, especially if anything about categories or what we thought we bought felt different. Wi-Fi complaints pile on in the same way. Pricey, slower than people expect, and a rough ask after paying premium money. Concierge guests often describe a calmer version of the same ship. Regular cabins can still have a great week, yet watching two different vacations happen side by side is exactly how people start drifting. Line number 1 is where it turns personal. Loyal cruisers realizing the rules changed and their loyalty suddenly stopped counting. Carnival earns the top spot for one reason. It doesn't just disappoint you on board, it rewrites the deal you thought you already bought. You've probably seen the message that starts it. We're updating our rewards. Translation: your status just got an expiration date. For longtime Carnival people, that's a gut punch. The old promise was simple. Sail enough, you become something. Platinum, diamond, you put in the nights. Then the goalposts move, and it starts feeling like you're renting your rank instead of owning it. 2 years, re-earn, reprove, same loyalty, new timer. I've watched people read that and go quiet. Wait, after all those trips, I still have to audition? That's why Carnival lands at number 1. It hits the repeat guests who built the word of mouth. Then the money layer shows up. You book thinking you're playing the value game. And on board, the bill starts dripping charges you didn't feel in the ad. Daily charges, packages, upgrades, the constant, just one more thing. The trip can still be fun, but the bill is what you remember on the ride home. If the value is so good, why does it take this much work to avoid overpaying? Then the vibe tightens. More announcements, more conduct reminders, curfew talk on certain sailings. And visually, you notice it. Uniform security posted in the same high-traffic spots at night, more cameras than you expected, the feeling that the ship is watching the crowd as much as it's entertaining it. Safety matters. No debate. It's the atmosphere that changes, less escape, more supervised. Then comes the piece that explains why people warn you to check your exact ship name, Fleet Whiplash. Carnival can feel like 2 different vacations depending on what you book. Some older ships have dealt with propulsion issues that can turn into itinerary chaos, late arrivals, missed ports, stops getting dropped. Meanwhile, the newest Excel-class ships can deliver the flashy wow and also the crowding complaints. More people, more demand, more moments where it feels like you're managing the ship instead of enjoying it. That stack, loyalty with a timer, money that keeps adding friction, a tighter vibe, plus ship roulette, is exactly why Carnival sits at number 1. When someone's on the fence, they usually do the same sanity check. Read the rewards change, check the daily charges, then pull up reviews for your exact ship name, not the logo. When those don't match the trip they pictured, the cancel button starts looking reasonable. After that, it's only fair to talk lifeboats, the 3 lines people run to when they want the vacation feeling back. If number 1 felt like same logo, totally different experience, this is what a lot of cruisers quietly admit. They're not quitting cruises. They're quitting the stress version and keeping the vacation. If you're done competing for chairs and living in Line World, Holland America is the one with quiet built in. You don't compete for calm, no chair hunting, no buffet stampede. The decks skew quieter, the rhythm feels adult, and meals tend to feel like an actual meal instead of a production run. The trade-off is the point. More long sailings and slower sea days, so the whole week runs at a lower volume. If you still want the pretty ship, just not the messy flow, that's where celebrity, especially edge class, keeps coming up. Same rule, ship name beats the logo. When the ship is built for lounging, the day stops feeling like a scavenger hunt. On a lot of sailings, an all-included style fare can bundle basic Wi-Fi and a classic drink package, which cuts down the nickel and dime surprises. The retreat exists if you want shipwithinaship.com, but most people come here for the bigger win. Premium energy without constant friction. If your stress trigger is family crowd math, Virgin Voyages is the cleanest reset. Adults only changes the mood before day 1. Costs feel clearer, Wi-Fi is included, dining is built around restaurants instead of fight the buffet, and the final bill tends to feel less like a surprise quiz. The only real know before you go is the Vibe Leans nightlife. So if you want early to bed quiet, just clock that going in. Real win? The escape hatch isn't a better deal. It's picking the rhythm, not the hype. You didn't pay thousands of dollars to spend your vacation in lines and time slots. You paid to feel rested. When you're deciding whether to commit, do one move. Open the fee page, then read the newest reviews for your exact ship. If it sounds like crowd control and it's full of tiny add-ons, walk away. Drop one detail in the comments. Which cruise line burned you and what was the moment you knew?